In our conversational sign language, our sign for break would be able to put your hands up here like you was breaking something up in front of you. To break. To break it. And to have somebody bring, they're going out and bringing back to you. It might be something that would be in the center, maybe make the sign of a circle, and then put your finger into the center of that to make the center. Again, the circle, and then the sign into the center. Okay, to work on, to be able to come, to be able to go. Very similar with receive and to give. There are two signs for big or large. If we're talking in about the man or the human race, we go by bigger and bigger and bigger. If we want to say big or whole, we may make a real large arc from inside going clear to the outside. Very large, very big, large. When we come to the sign of fire, it is like the flickering of the flame. And also to add to it, if you want to show that the fire is hot, it's just like you are feeling the flames from the fire, and it's hot. Just the opposite of hot would be cold. You're shivering. You have to come in together like this. And if your body is hot, you can go and make the sign on your forehead like you are taking perspiration away. You may be able to walk across with your hand and get rid of the perspiration. The sign also, too, is for to bless. And also the same sign can be used to say thank you. If somebody gives you something and you want to return a thank you, you put your hand out in front of you, bring it to that person. If you want to bless that person, you're giving good things to them as you're blessing them. If we may want to say the word corn, it would be just like the women when they're shelling it or picking the kernels off in the corn cob. You show that as something that is grown, and then you got a corn cob, and then they're picking the corn hulls out of that. The work of the women when they're picking the corn. If we want to make the sign for clouds, kind of like fluffy, that are up everywhere, they're kind of different forms, different shapes, the clouds up in the sky. If we were to make big talk or council talk, we would be able to talk that the human beings or the people would be sitting here, sitting here, sitting here, sitting here, sitting here, sitting here, a complete circle of council talk or big talk. This is good medicine for our people when they talk, council talk, round and round in the great circle. If in our conversational sign language when we was talking, if we want to make the sign that somebody is not normal, or we might want to say that they're crazy, you would make the sign over here and go round and around, or even in their face. The words are not coming out right. They're coming out kind of mixed up. If a person is sad, make the sign of tears that are coming out of our face, our eyes. And maybe our face might be long. Our mouth might go down. We're crying. These tears are coming out. If a person over here on their ears, point to their ears, it's gone. That is the sign for a person that cannot hear, that may be deaf. If we die, we go under. We go under. The sign for die is to go under. You tell someone to wait. Wait. Put your hand out in front of them, kind of like you're asking them to back up just a little bit. Wait. You might want to make the sign for to dig. It wouldn't be like an animal digging. It would be like we was scooping it out of Mother Earth, bringing it out. We're digging a hole. We're digging a hole. We're putting it down. Dig, to make it work. To be able to have a friend or people that go together would be friends. To be able to separate, they go this way. Our friendship goes away. When our friendship goes this way, we may have a long face. We may be angry. We may fight, or we might put our hands like this, and it is a sign for quarrel, because I'm talking no good talk to you, and you're coming back and talking to me no good talk. This is the reason we fight, or this is the reason we quarrel. Our friendship will separate. To be able to go together, we will be the same. To make the sign for something that is very much the same, one on top of the other, just like he was stacking something up. This is the same. You may be wanting to explain there's no difference. They're the same. We have no differences. To be able to trade, we make the sign this way. To trade or exchange. You give, I give, we trade. It's a good trade. You give, I give. We make a trade or exchange as it works. If we make the signs to exterminate, we may make the sign for sand, for fight, make the sign for fight, and go this way because it's all gone, and that's to exterminate it. That is to fight, to be able to send it away. So these are some signs that we have to use multiple signs to be able to give, to be able to receive, and where we understand. We've said that. We may want to talk about our face. We make a circular motion around our face. This is coming in and making it important that you're looking at a person's face. If we want to talk about small, it might be small, like this. Show the sign between your fingers, not to touch, but bring them real close together. And to be big, we've seen the sign for large before, the two signs of a person, or something that is tall, or something that is big. Big above everything, and little, and little. And the same signs. These are the ones that you might be able to utilize anywhere in your conversations. We want to maybe be able to talk about speed. We might want to make the sign for walking. And when you make the sign for walking, move your hands real slow. That means slow, that you're only walking real slow. You put your hands together and go fast, you're going to go away in a hurry. That's going to be fast. You're going to go away in a hurry. These are the signs. This is slow. This would be fast. You'd go away. You may be able to walk real slow, slow and easy. If we were to come in for clothing, apparel, it would be maybe like if you was putting on a pair of gloves, just like you was fitting them on your fingers. You're putting them on, you're pulling them on. Make the sign however you need to pull them gloves on. If you wanted to show shoes, you'll have to raise up your foot like you're putting a shoe on. Or same sign, if you're putting on a moccasin, raise up your feet. Put that sign that are putting them onto your feet. You're pulling them on also down below. If a blanket would be over your shoulders, a blanket, or if you went and made the sign for buffalo and you put it over your shoulder, that would be a robe, a buffalo robe. If you don't have the sign above and you just go with the cover, that would be a blanket. If you wanted to put the coat on, you would put it on like this, and maybe it would have the sleeves. You'll put one sleeve on, bring it around, make the sleeve. You bring it in here, and you button it up or you zip it up. That would be for your coat. Very similar to the blanket or robe. To say gap, like the mountains, and you make the sign for stone, and the mountains with the jagged, it might be a place that the mountains come together where you can travel through. That would be a gap, or maybe a valley, that the mountains coming over here with that rock is going to form and come in to the center. If we want to talk about maybe the future, we come in and we make the sign. Remember, we had the sign for sun where we had the horizon and the sun comes up. The sun comes up. Make the sign for sun coming up, but let it go. Many, many times make that sign go. That would be talking about coming into the future. You would have the sign for the sun coming up. Many, many times going forward, you would see the future. If you want to talk about the past, you would make the same sign, but go to the back where the sun goes down and it's getting dark. Then you back up. You back up and not go into the future. You go into the back where the sun goes down. You're backing up in days. You're going back into the past. Maybe many, many snows. Many, many snows that we may be going back. We'll talk about ancient times. To make the sign for grass, you may want to flatten Mother Earth out and show little bitty pieces that are starting to grow, that is growing on Mother Earth. You might make the sign for Mother Earth, the plains and the grasses that come up. If we may talk about a person that is of, when we make our sign of color, there are different colors. They're going this way. If we make the sign for half-breed, we come down through the center of our body, down through the center of our body. This half goes this way. This half goes that way. Maybe a half-breed may have a father who is Indian. Maybe a half-breed, his mother may be white. So they're half and half. A half-breed. Half and half. For a hole, you may make a circle and you could go down in that hole. Make a circle and you could go down into that hole. If we wanted to make the sign for something that is tough or strong, you would make the sign, put your hands up in front of you, just like you're jerking it down. You're making it tough. You're making it hard. You're making it real, real hard. If it's hard, it may take a lot of energy to pick it up. It's heavy. You're putting energy in to pick it up. It's tough for you to pick up. To be able to talk the truth, it comes out straight when you're talking. When you're talking. If it is false, the talk comes out crossways. Your talk in false or a lie is crossways. It's no good. It is bad talk to be able to tell a lie. To hide would be you would put your hand in front and you'd go round behind so that person can't see you. You put your hand up in front and you'll go round behind quickly so they can't see you. To hide, to come in behind real quick. To make marriage, to marry, you trade for a friend who is a woman. You may give. You may give to be able to receive that woman in marriage or friendship. If a woman was talking about her marriage, the gifts that were given for a man to be a friend or to go together. This is to go together. This is also to separate. I'm going this direction. You're going this direction. This could also represent maybe a marriage that was no good, that it was broken. The man went this way. The man went this way. The woman, she went this way. The marriage or the trade is no longer there. It's gone. If, on the other side, we're talking about a good marriage or a trade, that they would go together and it would come from their heart. It's really good. The heart is really good. It will go on for a very long, long, long time. If we were to make the sign talk for metal, it may be something that is flat, that is hard like a rock. It might be something flat and hard like a rock. Or if it was a metal of a word, it might be something that was put over here. It was given to you, an award or a medal. Might have a whole bunch of them that are hanging down, that are medals here and there. This is an award, different than the sign for just plain metal. The sign for something solid is this sign where you put your hand down on the palm of the other one. It cannot go through. It's metal. It's rock. It's hard. We talk of money. Money came in when they made the sign of the round coins, when it was first given to the people in a round coin. It's a round coin that was given to you, that you could give and you could make trade with it. The coin that you could give and you could make trade. As time went on, the coin also came with one that was like paper. You could stack them up. They were like paper. They could stack them up. It was like the coin, to be able to trade, to barter, or to buy, to give, to receive. Money. If we wanted to make the sign for a mound, you would kind of make the sign for Mother Earth, but it's got a hump in it. Mother Earth has got a hump in it. Now don't confuse this when we make this sign and we go with our fingers and we go like this. Keep our fingers like this. We bring it this way for a wickiup. Not a teepee, but you make the sign for a wickiup because they're rounded, but yet they come together. But a teepee, don't confuse a wickiup for a teepee. Teepee is straight, long poles. For mistake, we make the sign for work, but yet you go and hide from it. You made a mistake. You was working, and you made a mistake, so you went and hide from it. You go around behind from it. You don't want to be seen with that. A newspaper is similar to a book, but we make the sign of opening it up, but it's flat. And then you read it. It's similar to a book, but it's bigger. And it's flat. And you read it. A newspaper. If you wanted a sign that you was back talking about a person or going behind somebody's back, you would say, just like when the sign to go behind or to hide, you would go behind and you would talk, no good talk. You would talk, no good talk when you went behind them, which was no good. Go behind them and talk behind their back, which is no good. To make an oath, or make a vow, or make a commitment, oath, would be you would raise your hand. You would raise your hand to make an oath. You would raise your hand to make an oath. Only talk the truth. Only talk, good talk, or the talk that comes out for oath. You make a commitment to say, I will tell the truth. For the sign, for often, it would be you would make your sign of it coming up your arm like this. Just make it real fast. You're doing it over and over and over. It's often. You're doing it exactly the same way as you're making that sign coming up your arm. A person passes away or goes under or dies. The word or the sign for mourn is the same sign for cry as your eyes let the water or the tears come up. You're crying. Your heart is broke. It's no good. You're crying. Your heart is broke. It's no good. You mourn. Mountain, we made the sign earlier. The jagged mountains out of stone or rock. To go over, you cross over the mountain. On the other side, you're over there. You come back over the mountain. You come back over this mountain. The sign for overtake or to catch up with. If a person may be in front of you, to overtake would be to come and catch up and then go by. A person may be going in front of you, and if you want to make the sign for overtake, you come up, you catch up, you pass them, you overtake. Again, to overtake, you're following and you catch up and you pass them and you overtake. To pack is you put a pack on a horse. A sign for horse or a stride, but yet we're putting a pack on that horse. Putting that pack on that horse. We may want to talk about a color of paint, maybe on your face. War paint, or you're going to go fight. You're going to go fight. You're going to go. You may go ahead and paint for battle, so you can go and be strong. For palsy, or a person that may have the shakes, you would put your hands out in front of you and let them quiver. Put your hands out in front of you. Let them quiver like you got the palsies or you got the shakes. Same sign, maybe over here when they're kind of sick. Maybe they're sick and their hands are shaking. Remember the sign we made for sick, but their hands are shaking. Palsy. The sign for perhaps, you would have two hearts. The sign for perhaps, you would have two hearts, maybe one here, one here. Two hearts. Perhaps. If a person is talked about in poor flesh or skinny, make the marks, maybe like the ribs are showing, the skinny or people of poor flesh, might make the sign again of sickness. People of poor flesh, they're getting skinny, falling away. Private talk would be, you make the sign for little. It would be little talk. It would be very little talk. Not the big talk that we talked about in council, but private talk. Very little between me and you. Very private. Private talk. Make the sign to be able to get a person's attention. You put your hand out in front of you and you rotate it back and forth. This sign here has many, many meanings. You might be saying, what? Or I just want to get your attention. I want to talk to you. What? You may be talking to a person and over here you didn't understand. So you ask them, what? What? Wait. Wait. Talk to me again. Tell me one more time so I understand. Wait. Wait. What is it you said? What? Or get your attention. I want to talk to you. You might want to talk to a person over here or a person over here. Make that sign. Hey, I want to get your attention. I want to talk to you. If you wanted to make the hand talk for push, make the gesture. You're trying to push somebody away. Push them. Make them retreat. Make them back up. Push. Shove them backwards. We talk about a man. A man is this sign, but if he's rising, he's going up higher and higher and higher. A man, or a rising man, that's going up higher and higher. Maybe in his work or his way. Maybe make the sign for work or maybe his way. The man who is rising or he's going up in his way. That man. It might be an elder. Make the sign for an old person. A man working his way up on his way, on his journey. To quiet down. You're not pushing or doing the push or pushing them backwards. You bring both hands, tell them to quiet down. Over here, over here, over here. Quiet down. Quiet down. Maybe their talk is big talk. Maybe it's too loud. Quiet down, quiet down, quiet down. Wait, 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 wait. See, it's the same sign, but just tell them to wait, wait. Quiet down. The sign for ring would be just like my ring. It's something you slide on your finger. A ring or jewelry. Maybe you would want to talk about, when we're saying jewelry, maybe it might be over here. They're hanging down. Over here, earrings. Maybe like this choker, it would be a wrap that comes in here, that's tied in the back, that's coming in here. That's jewelry. Decorations, what it may be. A road or a path might be something that we travel on. A road or a path. A rope is something that is twisted that you can pull tight. It is twisted for rope that you can pull and pull it tight. The sign for sled would be like if you got the curved runners. If you want to describe it a little bit more with your sign, make the sign where the snow is coming down and you got your sled and it goes ahead. The sign for snow, the curve for the runners, and it's pulled ahead. The sign for sleep is you lie down. The sign for sleep, you lay your head down. You sleep. Soap would be just like you make the sign of rubbing it all over your body. Over here that you got water, and you make that soap. That water that you have, it might be hot. You're putting that soap on. You're bathing. You're taking a bath. You will get maybe your deal. Wipe your face. You use a towel. You dry it off. The water is gone. You're dry. Over here, it's good. You smell good. The smell is good. To make the sign for smoke is you make the sign for fire. And then similar to medicine, it grows up. Where does it go? It disappears. The fire, and then the smoke that comes up, spirals up. It disappears, it goes away. That is smoke and fire. It grows. Not to bring it up to a tree. You can chop that tree down, stack it this way to make fire. A whole bunch. Smoke comes out, goes everywhere, goes everywhere. The Indian hand talk for horse and maybe putting a saddle, you putting a saddle on a horse, maybe putting a bridle bit in a horse's mouth, maybe using a rope or a lariat, maybe to catch a horse. That horse may be inside of a corral, like you're making the poles in the corral, and the horse is on the inside. You're going to have to open the gate in that corral to get that horse out. May have the sign for binoculars to put them up where you can see a long ways. You can see a long ways. Binoculars. Maybe to, again, show our signs for our deer. Put your antlers up here. For an elk, might be larger. To film or to look through a camera where we have a picture. To film or to look through a camera to keep a picture filming. Two Indian men were talking back and forth. They needed to go out and look for some meat, maybe deer, maybe elk. When the sun come up, it was a good day to go hunting for deer or elk. They walked out to the corral. In that corral were 4 horses. They opened the gate. They walked in, closed the gate, got their rope or their lariat, rope 1 horse. Then they roped the 2nd horse. They got the bridle, put it in the horse's mouth. They brushed him off real good. Put a small blanket on his back. Then they got a saddle, put it on that horse. 2nd horse, put the bit in his mouth, brushed him off, put a small blanket on his back, then put a saddle on it, cinched 2 horses up, tightened the cinches. They went and got their rope. They roped the 3rd horse. They brought him over. They didn't put no, here, just put a halter in a rope. That horse was going to be one that put the pack on, put the meat of that deer or elk that they might be able to shoot, kill, bring back to camp. 4th horse took that rope, went out, roped him, brought him back, put a halter on him, the rope, put a pack on him, pack saddle, 2 pack horses, 2 horses to ride when they leave, go look, to hunt for deer or elk. They opened the gate. 4 horses they brought out. 2 Indian men got astride or got on two of the horses. One man, he had a rope. He was leading the third horse. The other man, he had a rope. Over here, he was leading the fourth horse. They went out riding for a long ways. They kept a riding. They was looking. I was looking over here. I was looking over here. No deer. No elk. No four-legged ones anywhere. They rode up this way, up there on that mountain, where there was many, many, many trees, many of them over here and over here. They rode in and out of them trees till they come on the other side. One Indian man, he says, "Wait, I see something. I see a deer." Two men, they got off their horses, tied him up over to a tree, took that rope, took it over there, tied it on that tree. They talked real quiet. Talked real quiet. They walked in a very quiet way, looking, searching. Walk a little ways, and then they'd stop. Walk a little ways, and then they'd stop. They look. One deer, one buck deer. He's laying down in the grass, in the brush. He's looking around. He don't see the men as they walked, and they stopped and waited. They looked. That deer, he was looking around. He was smelling. The wind was gone. So his smell of the men wasn't there. The two Indian men, each one had the white man's rifle, which was good. When they shot, they were good. They could kill long ways. They walked real quiet. Then they stopped, sat down. They looked. That deer, he looked over this direction. His ears went up. He started smelling. He was looking over that way. The Indian men, they looked in that direction. They looked over there on that mountain, on that hill over there. They could hear something. They could hear over there where they was looking. They looked over there. They could smell the smoke that was coming up. They looked, and they seen one white man, mountain man. He had a fire going. The men was looking at him over there to that white man sitting down, warming himself from that fire. He was drinking coffee. He was looking around. The men over here, them Indian men, they looked over there. That deer, He was looking over there at that mountain man. He could smell that fire, that smoke that was coming up. He could smell that coffee on that fire. The deer, he got up. He ran away. He was scared. The white man, mountain man, frightened him. He took off, went over the hill. The two Indian men, they looked. The deer, he was gone, went over the hill. They were sad. Their faces were long. No meat. No meat today. They go back, got their horses. 2 of them got on, got their pack animals, 2 of them. They were mad at that mountain man for scaring that deer when he took off. They went back to camp. They said, let's quit. No good day to go out and look, to hunt. It was no good day to go out and hunt. So they quit for that day. To work, to make fire, may have a stone or a rock, what we call flint, maybe have a small piece of that flat steel. Might strike until a hot one come off, went down. Maybe we would gather dry stuff, maybe on a tree, scrape down till we get that bark, roll it up, strike. Hot one goes in here, blow on it, pretty quick, little bitty fire. Blow some more, little bitty fire. Gets bigger. We put it down into the wood or the branches that we brought in, picked over here, laid it, blowed on it. Then the fire came. As time went on, the white man came from the east. They came. They gave to the Indian people matches that was struck, match that caused flame, match that caused flame. White men's matches that made flame. Corral, poles that go around. Around that corral, there was a gate that you could open and close. To go in, close it, and open it to come back out. To see a long ways. Binoculars to see a long ways, way over there. It would bring them up close and we could see it. Binoculars, bring it up close, we could see it. Rope or a lariat, a rope or a lariat that we would swing to reach out and catch a horse. A rope a lariat that we could throw, catch a horse. Indian people, when they was moving, they had their camps, they had their packs, they had the travois, as they're pulling it. They would look for a good place on the earth where there was good water, where there was good water. Grass on Mother Earth for the horses to eat. Always look for a good place to put their camp up. One of the first things they did is they looked for good water. They worked on getting a fire. They would go out and gather dry stuff, put it in a ball. Maybe off in the trees, they would skim down that bark, mix it with that grass, dry it up, roll it in a ball. Maybe had a little bitty stone, small one, we called flint. Maybe they had a small piece of steel. They would strike it, a spark would come off. They would strike it, a spark would come off. They would strike it and keep a striking it and strike it until pretty quick one of them sparks come down into that dry stuff. They would blow on it pretty quick. Little bitty fire. Little bitty fire. They blow on it some more. Pretty quick. Get bigger and bigger. They would take it and put it underneath wood that they had stacked. Then again, they would blow on it. Fire would come bigger, 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 bigger. They worked hard to make fire. As time went on, when the white man came from that east, they brought matches that you could strike and it had fire. Strike it, it'd have fire. It was a good way. Put it down in there, let it go. When they worked on making camp, the Indian women worked on setting up their lodge. They would have, and they'd bring in many trees or straight poles that they would bring. They had rope. They would bring in maybe 3 or maybe 4 poles, long, straight ones, real straight, real long, real straight. They would lay them down on the ground. Maybe they would lay 2. Maybe they would lay 2 poles like this. They'd take one, lay it this way. Take one pole, lay it this way. They would wrap with maybe rope, wrap it, then tie it. Make a tripod of 3 poles. 3 women would work together. Would bring them 3 poles, one from the south, one from the north, one from the east. They would bring them up together, make a tripod. This one to the north, this one to the south, this one going over here to the east. That would be where the entrance, where your door go in, over there, coming from the east. They would take 3 poles, lay them in that tripod on that side. The women would go get 3 real straight, real long poles. They would take 2, lay them this way. They would bring the 3rd one, lay it this way. They would wrap maybe a rope, tie them this way. To make a tripod, they'd bring it up, take 1 pole, bring it to the south, the other they'd bring it to the north, the other one to the east. They would stand them up so there was 3. They would get 3 poles, good straight ones. In that tripod, they would lay 3 of them. They would take that rope, maybe make 2, 3 wraps around here. Then they would get 3 more or 4 more poles, lay it up here from the doors this way, come around, lay it in that tripod again over here to that south pole. Take that rope, make another maybe 1 or 2 wraps, tighten it up. Go to the back, they'd get 3 poles, good long straight ones, 3 poles. Lay 1 over on this side, 2 over on this side. So there was a gap right in the middle. In that gap in the middle, there would be 1 pole laying over here. They'd go ahead and get the cover or the blanket, lay it on that pole, take it, 1 pole, tie it on there. They would pick that up, stand it right straight up, lay it in that fork where them other 2, and this one over here, 1, lay that. Then they would unroll the buffalo robe or the canvas, the buffalo robe or the canvas. They'd unroll it, bring it around front. Maybe find a tree stump that they could get up on top. They could stand. They could stand right here, reach way up there, tie that cover real close to that tripod. Take pins, maybe that long, maybe my finger. They had holes, 4 holes, 2 in each side. They would overlap, bring them together. Take that pin, put it through that hole on this one, and the underneath side one, bring it around, and then bring it back out, them 2 holes on the other side. Lace it. Come down, lace. However many you need to get down to that opening or that doorway to come in. At that doorway to come in, also lapped over, maybe 1 or 2 lacings, pins, go in there to hold that bottom. They would go and get maybe stakes, maybe that long. Go to the back of that teepee on that back side. They would stretch it out real tight. take a hammer, drive that stake into the ground, maybe that far, all the way around, stretching it tight as they come, till they come clear around to where that entrance or that doorway you come into. Pull it down tight. Once it was cover was on the old works, they took down poles. Once they went inside, to go inside, they would push them out to make it come in real. You could thump your finger on it, and it would make a good sound. You could thump your finger on that cover, and the sound would be good. It would really be tight, really be good. 2 poles, great big long straight ones. They had flaps way at the top of that teepee, flaps. Take them poles, hold it into that flap. Had a place where they could put that pole, one on each side. They could open it up. Them flaps on top, way up high, even above the rest of the cover. They worked it this way in a good way. So when the wind, whether it come from this way, this way, over here or that, they could control them flaps. So when that fire was built inside of the teepee, when that fire was built and that smoke would come up, they could use them flaps back and forth or even straight away, open them up to let that smoke from that fire go right straight up. It wouldn't hang down low to make a person huff. They didn't have to breathe that smoke. It went up. So when they worked in there, and they cooked in there, they slept in there, it was good, nice and warm. On that opening, that door, when you went in, they had a square cover that they could go ahead and go around that, close it off, close her up, and then it'd really be warm in there. When you walked up there and you seen that door was closed, on that door where you come in, there might be sticks, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. They might be crossed and laid right on that door. That was just like it was locked. They didn't want nobody coming in. It was just like it was locked when they crossed them and laid them there. They wanted you to wait.